The autonomic nervous system coordinates involuntary responses in the body. There are two main divisions, the sympathetic division, which might be activated when you feel scared, and the parasympathetic division, which might be activated when you're feeling like a potato. Sympathetic signals coordinate effects throughout the body that can be generally classified as a fight or flight response. Parasympathetic signals stimulate responses that promote rest and digestion. These fight or flight and rest and digest responses are coordinated by neurons. Neurons can either be part of the sympathetic division or the parasympathetic division. When sympathetic neurons fire, they trigger fight or flight effects in the target organs by releasing neurotransmitters. Typically, those neurotransmitters are epinephrine and norepinephrine. When parasympathetic neurons fire, they trigger rest and digest effects in their target organs by releasing the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. When sympathetic neurons release epinephrine and norepinephrine, those neurotransmitters bind to receptors on the target organ. The receptor for epinephrine and norepinephrine is an adrenergic receptor. Since acetylcholine is a different molecule, it has a different receptor. The receptor for acetylcholine is a cholinergic receptor. An organ can have adrenergic receptors, cholinergic receptors, or both. An example of an organ that has both types of receptors is the heart. It's an example of a dual innervated organ because it's controlled by both sympathetic neurons and parasympathetic neurons. When sympathetic neurons fire, they release neurotransmitters, epinephrine and norepinephrine, that bind to receptors on the heart. This binding to the receptor stimulates the heart to make changes that are conducive to fight or flight. This means the heart pumps faster and more forcefully, allowing more blood, oxygen, and nutrients to get pumped to the skeletal muscles that will help you fight or flee. Since parasympathetic neurons release different neurotransmitters, they will bind to different receptors on the heart. When they do, it stimulates the heart to slow down. Autonomic system effects are found on a continuum. The more epinephrine binds to adrenergic receptors on the heart, the stronger the fight or flight response. The more acetylcholine binds to cholinergic receptors, the stronger the rest and digest effect. But often we exist in a state somewhere in the middle. Many other organs are also dual innervated, like the lungs and digestive organs. There are some organs that are only single innervated, meaning they are controlled by only one division of the autonomic nervous system. Certain blood vessels are single innervated and are controlled only by sympathetic signals. If this is an artery supplying blood to skeletal muscles, then sympathetic signals should affect the artery in a way that improves blood flow to the skeletal muscles to aid in the fight or the flight. This is accomplished by dilating the artery so that more blood can flow to the skeletal muscle. When there's no epinephrine or norepinephrine to bind to the adrenergic receptors, that is when we see the rest and digest response. The blood vessel constricts back down to normal resting levels. So, the diameter of this artery is determined by how many adrenergic receptors are activated. Arteries that supply blood to different organs may respond to sympathetic signals differently. For example, arteries going to the stomach, intestines, and kidneys are stimulated to constrict, limiting blood flow. Blood is diverted away from these organs in favor of the organs that are more important for increasing the chance of surviving a fight. But when the danger is gone, blood flow to these organs is restored.